Okay, we're gonna have deja vu from the end of the last mission here for a second while we kill these skags again to get started on the next phase of our mission, data mining. Cloud kill doing most of the work for us. Get these guys down here while we're at it, otherwise they'll come back to bother us. And there will be a few more off to our left. Then we should be done with skags for a while. And this pup skag, he was doing a great job of dodging. I had to resort to phase lock in order to get him. I think that grenade will work. I just didn't want to have a corrosive cloud on. And this, in Borderlands 1, would have been the way back to kill Nine Toes. And there was a couple other missions back this way too. I think you went this way to kill Scar for TK Baja. Still looks largely the same except for the giant pipeline and the extra buildings. And then back over here was where you had to go to get that part for Zed's vending machine before you could use it. And there's still a health vending machine in the same spot in Zed's clinic once we get in there. And I'm kind of always half expecting more skags to spawn, because that's what happened in Borderlands 1. More skags would spawn once you got back closer to the corner. But in Borderlands 2, no more are spawning. So now we'll go kill some junk loaders. And I think this is the first we've seen of junk loaders. I can't think of where else they might show up in the story. I'm sure they're in some side missions, but when you're just playing the straight story as much as I am, I think this is about the only junk loaders that we fight. So we'll get a corrosive weapon for those guys. And there's one right there. And I'm kind of wondering, where do junk loaders come from? I can't imagine that Hyperion built these, or that they've been digistructed. It looks like they've been, you know, kind of just built from scrap by hand from a local or something. But yeah, I don't really know where they come from. And they're not super dangerous. I don't think they ever spawn with launchers or RPGs or anything. I think it's pretty much just guns. And there's not very many of them. And this Ludmilla turns out to be a pretty good choice for this area, since you don't have to change it out in order to change from skags to junk loaders. It works on both of them. And by this point I'm thinking this Ludmilla is probably pretty ideal for Saturn. Especially combined with the B shield. But this is probably the hardest part of the mission right here. Trying to get up these rocks. I always forget, because you only come here once in each story, in each playthrough of the story, and I can never remember how I got up. There we go. Just gotta get a foothold right there, I guess. We'll see if that struggle was worth it. And I would say no, that struggle was not worth it. Somebody else might have a different opinion, but a little over $1,800. Kind of chump change compared to how much we generally get farming.
You won't find better merchandise anywhere else. I made sure of that.
And our ammo should be good enough for now. We should have more ammo refills on the way to TK Baja's shack. And this is the important mission. We're gonna go get a lady fist, which may not be as big a deal as going to get a herald, but I think it's at least as big of a deal as going to get a heartbreaker. And it's actually easier than getting a heartbreaker if it wasn't for this corrosive skag. Badass corrosive skag. And I'm not getting my criticals. I think I need to shoot lower to get my criticals. And we're trying out the fire anarchist instead of our good touch this time. Maybe that's part of our problem, but I don't think so. I think I'm just not getting my hits. This anarchist is pretty good at, like, laying down fire for a long period of time. Look at that. That was like a long string of bullets right there without having to reload. And then the reload is fast. So an anarchist is a good thing to have. It may even be preferable to a Gwen's head, but it's a heck of a lot less common to get than a Gwen's head. But I'll definitely be saving this gun for Salvador, since Salvador can't really use a Gwen's head. We're going to want to have as many elemental anarchists available for Salvador by the time we get to him. And the plan is that he'll probably come right after Gage, so he'll probably be our third character, as long as I get that far. But yeah, elemental anarchists are great. I mean, just all the way around, not just for Salvador, but I actually probably prefer them to a Gwen's head, if it comes down to it, if they're comparable levels and so forth, because an anarchist usually holds more ammo. Now in here, I'm always leery of loot midgets. I've gotten loot midgets in here a lot. But not this time. And there's a vending machine downstairs for us to sell this stuff off. And in order to get the Lady Fist, we have to go through all these containers, looking for TK Baja's old echoes, so that his niece can prove that he was ripped off by Hyperion. Or, is it Hyperion? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Although this time it's Mr. Blake and not Jack behind it, apparently.
Well, my wife's dead.
So you get a little rehash of TK Baja's history that Maybe adds a couple details that were missing in Borderlands 1, but kind of just a rehash of what you already know. Makes you think that the developers possibly regretted a little bit that they killed off TK Baha. I mean, they did bring him back for the zombie DLC.
You won't have died for nothing, Merrick. Scar blinded me and ate my leg.
But how were they gonna know
I may be a
back when they were making Borderlands 1 and they didn't even know
met some folks looking for the vault.
if the whole idea itself would even fly? That there would end up being such a thing as a looter shooter and such a successful franchise. So they probably didn't even think twice about killing off TK Baha at that time.
I'm sure this will turn out all right. Mr. Baha, we at High
There's Mr. Blake.
enjoy your wave rifle design so much that we have decided to appropriate it for ourselves.
And the wave was like a shotgun
Your home on Isolus.
that you got for completing a mission for TK
I
Baha.
would suggest leaving the
And it wasn't much of a shotgun.
before they arrive.
At least, I don't think it was. I never got much use out of it. I tried it a few times, but I always ended up selling it.
First gun my uncle ever gave me.
And I always get the blueprints from the floor,
Hello, mercenary. Should you
because then you
return
can
those
immediately
sensitive
access the
documents
gun machine. If you pull that little lever in order to access the documents, then you have to wait for a long time for the gun machine to reset.
to the corporation, we can offer more than what Mr. Baha's niece can pay.
And
A
potential
fine Hyperion armament,
weapon we
for example.
might want there.
Don't listen to those corporate
That's quite a bit more damage.
both know my uncle deserves justice.
Not as good of a reload speed and 2 less in the magazine. But the damage is looking pretty good. We won't need a fire sniper for a long time yet, not until we get into true Vault Hunter mode. So we're thinking pretty far ahead by grabbing this Pushka now. But you never know, we might not run across anything better in the future. But there's a chance we'll get like a volcano or something out of the Vault of the Warrior. Or I plan on doing quite a bit of farming, along the way, so there's a good chance this is just a temporary weapon and we may never even use it. Because from this point on, we have almost no more use for fire weapons in normal mode. Everything except a couple more skags is going to be either corrosive or non-elemental. Speaking of which, we'll see what kind of Lady Fist we get. And I really want either a shock or a slag or a non-elemental Lady Fist. I don't want a fire or a corrosive Lady Fist at this point.
Thank you. Hyperion's gonna have to spend billions.
I want it
in
to be
legal
neutral
fees when it
damage.
hits the courts.
So that's
Sorry, I can't
perfect.
offer you more.
That's beautiful. And the key thing about that is the 800% critical hit damage in the fine print down at the bottom of the weapon card. That's just kind of casually huge stuck on there. By the way, this has 800% critical hit damage, which is going to be perfect for taking out constructors. Since constructors have that big old critical hit point on their face, that'll be great for that. It's not going to do us any good against Saturn because Saturn doesn't even have a critical hit point. So for that, we're probably going to want to use the Ludmilla. I may have to take back some of my complaints about getting a non-elemental Ludmilla, just because it might be a really good weapon against Saturn, especially combined with the B-Shield. It could be great. So I take back any bad things I might have said about our Ludmilla. But the reason I didn't want a corrosive or a fire lady fist was a corrosive will be fine for the rest of normal mode, but then it's not going to do us much good at the beginning of true Vault Hunter mode. Whereas if we got a fire one, the reverse is true. We couldn't get a lot of use out of it now, or as good a use, but it would be good for the beginning of true Vault Hunter mode. Whereas a nice neutral one, like a shock or a slag or a non-elemental, is going to be great for all of those. Kind of like our Ludmilla is taking down loaders and skags with equal facility. That's what we want out of our Lady Fist as well. And now I'm thinking about a secondary weapon for Saturn, because I know I want to use the Ludmilla first, but we could well run out of sniper ammo just trying to take down Saturn. So we want something as a backup that's also going to do a lot of damage. And that explosive spitter seems like a pretty good bet. Saturn is big, so we should be able to hit him with the spitter without a problem. And with the B shield on, that should be a lot of damage. And all you have to do to spawn Saturn is to go past this little fallen over fence right there, and he will spawn right behind us. I probably should have switched to the B shield earlier, because the turtle shield had us down health-wise. You know, it takes off some of your health. So you can see my health bar is not doing that great. And our B shield was down a little bit there. Now it's back up, and that is a good amount of damage. You can hear the B shield sound on all those shots. So we did not run out of sniper ammo. We're kind of low on sniper ammo, but now they're belatedly sending some of those little winged missiles at us. And that's the thing about the B shield, is it has to be fully charged in order to get that amp damage, just like any amp shield. The difference with the B shield is that as long as it is fully charged, you're going to get amp damage with every shot because there's no drain. With a normal amp shield, you get some shield drain just by taking an amp shot, and then you have to wait till your shield recharges before you get another amp shot. With the B shield, it doesn't do that, and you just continually get amp shots unless your shield gets hit. And with an almost 8-second recharge delay, that's a long wait if you get hit. Not to mention the fact that that B shield doesn't have much protection capacity, so a good hit can take your whole shield and a good chunk of your health, and you know, it can be bad to just wear a B shield around. Even just fighting Saturn there, if we had got hit by one of those little winged missiles, we would have been in trouble. And certainly Saturn has put me into fight for my life numerous times, and there's nobody around other than Saturn to get your health back from, to get a second wind from. Although you can get a second wind, I think, by taking one of those cannons off of his, you know, that he has mounted on his frame. And I think, I'm not sure, because it's always like in the heat of combat when it happens, but I think taking down one of those winged missiles counts too as getting a second wind. So it's not maybe as hard as it seems to get a second wind off Saturn, but it's still kind of iffy. And it's definitely preferable to have good cover. And as long as your B shield isn't getting hit, it is extremely helpful. That was about the fastest I've ever taken him down. And I know it's only normal mode, but still, I don't know if I've ever taken him down quite that quick. Now coming over here, of course I'm looking to replenish my sniper ammo, but that little respawn point right next to us is key as well, because I've also gotten killed a lot of times by the upcoming constructors. And to respawn back here is a lot better than to respawn back by Zed's clinic.
You think I'm a monster, you think I enslaved Angel, but you didn't see it.
So I always try to activate that as a new respawn point.
You get that? I had to.
It's pretty sad when you're like planning to die, you know. But that's been a problem for me, especially against constructors. When I first started playing this game, I didn't even know that big red dot on the face of a constructor was a critical hit point and that you should aim for that. I would just try to shoot him anywhere, you know. You could see Converge work right there. It dragged that other loader right over next to phase lock. That's what Converge does. Now we've got 2 RPG loaders to deal with. That one's shooting at us. But this Connex or container or whatever you call it is good cover. So we're set. Now we're going to have a constructor to fight. But we'll have the Lady Fist and its 800% critical hit damage to help us out. So we just want to get him to spawn. And I don't want to stay that close to him, because if he does start firing off stuff, it's going to hurt us. This is close enough. You see, my critical hits aren't getting every shot. But even with just a few criticals on that guy, he went down fast. And that's very satisfying for somebody that has struggled with constructors the whole time that they've played this game. That's just great. To kill one of those that easily and just watch him go down. It's like sweet revenge. So we're going to want to basically do that again 2 more times. But first we have to kill a couple Hyperion guards that spawn in that entryway, and that's a pretty easy matter with a corrosive cloud grenade. Fortunately, that guy didn't hit us. Looked like he had a rocket launcher. Now I've used a few of my grenades, and I don't know how many I'm going to need in this upcoming part, because there's going to be loaders and constructors. So I might be wanting to throw quite a few grenades, depending on how it goes. And the main thing here is that I'm going to try a way that I've never intentionally or deliberately used before. Because my old way, I kind of belatedly recognized that the way I was doing this was not working, and I needed to do something different. Once again, I was slow and not, you know, kind of embarrassing in how I wasn't really understanding that I was doing something like really wrong, kind of like with the not understanding the critical hit point on a constructor. But eventually I did realize that what I was doing in here was just stupid, and decided to look for an alternative. So this will be my first attempt to try that alternative. I've gotten pushed into the alternative before, like accidentally, because I was just fighting to survive. But this time I'm going to do it intentionally to try to make this section a little smoother. So we'll see what spawns once we get up these stairs. Just loaders so far. And get away from the shock barrel, you idiot. Oh man, I got my shield almost completely taken down by that shock barrel. And it's still not recharged. But on the plus side, it looks like we just got loaders so far, and not very many of them. Now, my old mistake was I used to fight from this room. I used to use this room as cover. But now I'm going to bail out and go back downstairs. What used to happen to me in that room is those constructors would start sending loaders at me, and inevitably one of them would be an exploder loader. And when you're trapped in that little room, even if you successfully kill that exploder, the fact that he explodes does enough damage to you to like take out your shield and get your health down pretty low. And then the next time you get hit, you're like done. So I would die a lot in there, and I would have fight for your life a lot in there. And I finally realized that it's just not a good plan to fight from that little room. So jumping back down the stairwell seemed to work, at least in normal mode. In fact, there seemed to be kind of a bonus to it. What I was planning is that I could fight any loaders that spawned, like in the stairwell. You know, use the corners and stuff to my advantage to take out the loaders and fight my way back to take out the constructors. But it seemed like jumping down to the bottom like that kind of de-aggroed those constructors a little bit to where they didn't send any loaders at me, and I only had to kill them once I got back up the stairs. And there's pretty good cover there, even without going into the little room. You've got those walls and those corners right in that middle area so that you're not getting hit by both constructors at once. You can still take them on one at a time. So we'll see in true Vault Hunter mode and ultimate Vault Hunter mode whether that still works or not. You can't really make any conclusions from one try in normal mode. But so far, I feel like I'm on to something as far as surviving this mission a little easier. And now we have to kind of fight our way back to the fast travel. It's not going to be like Wildlife Preserve or Sawtooth. It's just going to be a couple skags. So we'll want a fire weapon and then go back to the fast travel and turn this in Sanctuary to Mordecai. We'll go back to the Good Touch. I'm not sure I want to get another Good Touch just because we are pretty much done with fire weapons. After these skags, I think we officially will be done with fire weapons for normal mode. Everything else should be corrosive from here on out.
That must have hurt. You are nothing.
They are nothing compared to Cloudkill, that's for sure. Used a fair amount of pistol ammo in that mission. So there will be more constructors in the future, so we're gonna keep the lady fist close. And when we turn this into Mordecai, he'll give us the next mission. And we will have the option to go talk to all of the old Borderlands 1 characters, and they will give us things. They usually give us blue card weapons, or blue card gear.
Jack, Lilith, and the warrior are in heroes.
And sometimes it can be pretty good. Most of the time I just end up selling it. But they all kind of become like mini Michael Mamarils temporarily.
Hyperions locked the entrance to Heroes Pass. Get back to Claptrap. Need him to open the way for you. Reckon I will need you.
Once you're in,
I must go
win
now.
or lose.
And I'm going to save quit before we actually do that, because I just want to guarantee as much as possible that whatever they give us will be on level. Instead of, you know, I wouldn't want to get a bunch of level 26 weapons from Zed and Moxie and Hammerlock and everybody. I don't think we would, but it won't hurt to save quit.
For Bloodwing, for Roland, for Pandora!
But it looks like the vending machine might still be at level 26. So I'm going to cut out all the looting. I'm taking my usual route through Sanctuary as I visit these characters. But there's no sense in showing all that.
I generally have trouble verbalizing my thoughts into words.
Tannis talks for a long time, so might as well check all the washing machines while she's going on.
2 words for you. Perhaps the most important 2 words ever spoken
And then we'll
on
see
Pandora.
what she's going to give
Kill
us.
Jack. Here, this may help you in your efforts to put a hilariously large hole in Jack's face.
And Tannis gives us a purple. That doesn't always happen. That's nice. That was a good relic. If I had any sense, I'd go ahead and use it, but I've already told myself before I even started this playthrough that I was going to limit myself to just tenacity relics. I'm not going to even consider anything else, just to save space and make it simple. I'm going to kind of take relics out of the equation and just give myself a better constant fight for my life chance, because I'll probably need it. And Zed gave us a pretty good shield. It's got a long recharge delay, but it's better on everything else. Total capacity and recharge rate. We'll take it. It's not ideal, but I think it's an improvement.
I can fix that.
Now Marcus almost never gives you anything good in like any situation. Even when you get a heartbreaker, you have to like return the pictures to Moxie, not Marcus.
Murdering son of a bitch who needs
I suppose
to die
that's deliberate since he's like
Good luck. Here, you might need
such a
this.
stingy type of character. So yeah, we're just gonna sell this right back to Marcus. Thanks, Marcus. Thanks for the cash.
I've had just about enough.
And then if you activate Hammerlock and Moxie both at the same time, they're a lot faster with their offerings.
That is beautiful.
It looks like Hammerlock might have given us something good. We don't want that fire SMG that Moxie gave us, because if we want a new fire SMG, we'll just tip her for another good touch. But I think that's an improvement. I think we'll take Hammerlock's Horror Show over our Pushka. So we never even did get to use that one that we got out of TK Baja's vending machine. And Claptrap doesn't give us anything, but he's the last one we talked to. And we'll go get Heroes Pass opened up, get the fast travel open. And that'll mean fighting a few waves of loaders. Nothing like we had in Bright Light's Flying City, but there'll be a fair number of loaders to fight.
Such a long time.
You do what you have to stop him from waking that warrior, even if it means
And now
taking him
Jack
out.
just seems like a blatant psychopath.
Damsel.
He's gone from being charming and funny and
Out in Heroes Pass.
you're like, this guy isn't so bad, to
We might
being
not
a
make it
pretty
around,
major dick.
but I want you to know
And now it's like, wait a second, this guy's actually like a psychopath. I guess we kind of got hints of that back in the Bloodwing mission, where he so callously killed Bloodwing. But by now it's pretty clear. There's like, this guy doesn't just have a different viewpoint than you. There's like literally something wrong with him. He's like one of those kind of human beings that we just don't need. Charming and funny or not.
You killed my friends. You destroyed my product line. I am the last claptrap in existence, and I am going to teabag your car.
Claptrap seems pretty bound and determined.
Minion, draw their fire with your face while I cloak my way over to the door controls.
And here, since everything's corrosive, we'll just use the Malawan again.
Good job, Minion. I have my cloaked over by the controls.
We took 2 shots on that guy, but I think we only really needed 1.
Door can stop me, Jack. I was made to open doors.
I think there's like 4 waves of loaders, each one a little bigger than the last, and they start throwing surveyors at us as well.
And open.
But
Access denied.
I haven't died very often in this little part.
What? I said and open.
I don't specifically remember dying in this part, and if I have, it was a long time ago.
Additional troops.
No.
This is kind of more like good target practice than an actual difficult section to play. Especially since this container right here gives you really good cover. You get back behind this and you're pretty safe as long as you keep running out to take guys out. I mean, if you just were to stay back there and hide, they'd eventually all converge on you and you'd be screwed, but temporarily it's a good place to go reload and stuff.
Yes, I've done it. Shutting the door defenses down.
So that wave was not too bad. And we got another skill point to spend. I'm hesitant to take chain reaction because I don't want to aggravate the racks with a deflective or reflective bullet skill point. So I took another flicker. I don't know if that'll make a difference or not. Maybe just 1 point in chain reaction would be enough to aggravate the racks. But, you know, this little part is not very hard. But if we all of a sudden have like a badass rack attacking us or a whole flock of racks, that could change this into a lot more of a problem very quickly.
Access granted.
The turrets are hostile to us right now. Claptrap's working on that. So hopefully the turrets are on our side. We accidentally took one out with that homing grenade. It went and killed the turret instead of one of the loaders, which I guess was okay. Not ideal, but it took some heat off of us for a second.
Overriding the door locks. Just stay alive, Minion.
So I think there's just one more wave.
How many of these guys are there? Badasses incoming.
And there is a badass surveyor. Fortunately, that guy off to our left was only a gun loader, not a hot loader.
Avoid the bullets. I'm Goliath.
And this is easier for Maya because she can phase lock even a badass surveyor.
Reinforcements depleted.
Don't worry, baby. Happens to a lot of girls.
Okay, so that's it. We're done with loaders.
We did it, Minion. Jack thought he could stop us with a door? Ha! I was made to open doors. There's no stopping us now, Minion. Together, we shall free Pandora. I will lead you into battle. I will destroy Handsome Jack with my bare hands.
Claptrap's gonna lead us into battle
Stairs? No!
as he just waves his arm around while he's running to hide and then says, "Protect me, Squire."
Minion, you've got to go on without me. Do your master proud. Damn it, Jack! How did you know that stairs were my only weakness? Next to electrocution and explosions and gunfire, rust, corrosion, being kicked alive, viruses, being called bad names, falling from great heights, drowning, adult onset diabetes, being looked at funny, heart attacks, exposure to oxygen, being turned down by women, and pet allergens.
So all we're gonna do up here
Only by your malevolence.
is check the vending machines, refill our ammo as much as we can, and then make sure we're on the fast travel. And we will save actual Heroes Pass for the next episode. And I'll probably check out all the vending machines and the chests to see if anything is leveled up. See if I can get a good shield. Actually, what I really want is a Hyperion shock shotgun. I don't really want a bandit shock shotgun or a Tediore. I'd probably take it if I had to. Our shock SMG and our shock sniper would probably be alright, but Jack has this little bubble shield that he likes to activate. Maybe we can take him down fast enough that he won't activate it, but I don't want to rely on that. And a shock shotgun seems to be the best thing for getting him out of the little bubble shield. We'll probably see that in the next episode. So if I can find one, I'm going to try, even if it's a level 27, I'm going to try to get one of those. So I'll let you know the next time how that worked out. And that's it for this episode.